Welcome to HipMojo Show 22. On this week's show, we're going to talk about 2012 predictions that you're going to deliver, and I'm going to give you guys my anti-predictions.
I can't believe you talked me into this. I hate predictions. Everyone just uses it as an excuse to get some attention. They run their mouth off. No one's ever right. I don't even have confidence in my own, but...
That's great. That's what you want to hear.
That's what you want to hear. Don't listen to me.
Keep watching.
In fact, you should just click the back button now. All right. I got a few. So what? I got 3 here in total. First, I think Amazon is actually going to reach its tentacles a lot further, and I know that sounds flimsy, but they have their tentacles in everything right now, but I think they're going to become a household name more. They're going to start to get a lot more brand recognition for, you know, doing things like video and cloud and all that kind of stuff. So that, I would say...
Pretty flimsy, but okay, fair enough. It's going to probably be very
safe.
accurate.
Actually, that one I believe,
yeah. Is the sky blue as well?
Only on a sunny day. The other one, and this is more of a hope rather than a prediction, but Google will quietly kill off Google+.
Ooh, that's bold. I don't think so, but okay, maybe. I don't think within a year, but these guys are sitting on like $40 billion of cash. They're just going to throw cash at everything until something kills Facebook, which
they should really throw cash at something that works, because nothing, yeah, anyways. Which brings me to my next prediction, which you just said. I think Facebook might actually hit 1 billion users.
In 2012.
In 2012. Well, what, they went from like 5 to 800 million in 2011, so I think, you know.
Yeah, that's possible. I mean, I think the IPO will allow them to open up a lot of markets, get a lot of press, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so those are your 3.
Just as a quick aside, I think they're going to eat into Google's share as a marketing tool. Google is huge on AdWords right now. Facebook is becoming a much more viable advertising and marketing platform. Everything from their ads to their pages to their data mining. I think you're gonna start seeing people spending a little bit less on clicks from Google and a little bit more on clicks. Like, you're actually gonna see some budget shift. Maybe not a lot, but it'll be noticeable.
All right, so my anti-predictions, you could read them, and then I'll sort of chime in to make this less, you know, Ash going crazy on a rant.
Could you be any more ambiguous?
Okay.
We will have standards and definitions.
Okay, so this is an online video anti-prediction. Each year we say how an online video, we don't know what a view is, and we don't know if it's click-through rates, the CTR that matters, or whatever. Every year we say this is the year, and my good friend Paul Cantonis of Digitest said this is the year 2012. I think he's wrong. I think everybody is crazy. We're going to finally start to openly admit that we lack definitions and we lack standards. But no way is 2012 where we all get together, kumbaya, hold hands, and say, ta-ta, this is what defines a view. It is a, you know, blah, 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 blah. It's not going to happen. It will probably never happen, so don't count on that.
All right. Okay, really, the year of mobile.
Every year is...
Since like 2005?
Yeah. No, it's since 1994, you know. Every year is, this is the year of mobile. Listen, mobile's here. Granted, it's been a lot of text and images and, you know, back in the day, screensavers or, you know, ringtones, sorry, whatever. The bottom line is, you are getting a lot of video, but it's still going to be small. And the growth rates are great, don't get me wrong. But it's not even an ideal format to advertise. But we're all running around, like a few years ago, it was like, imagine if you're walking by Starbucks and you get a text message saying, listen, if that ever happens, I will blow up Starbucks. I don't want to get a text message everywhere I go. So this notion that next year is the year of video on mobile and it's going to be all, shut up. It's going to be small. Online video is small. Mobile video is going to be even smaller. Yes, the growth rate is unbelievable.
I don't think most people understand mobile enough to understand what the year of mobile would actually entail. Like,
well put. Well put. Next.
All right. Death of television.
I am so freaking fed up of hearing online media people like myself say
they're like the only media that's not losing money right now.
First of all, television is stronger than ever. Yes, in 10 years, in 20 years, and maybe 5 years, there's going to be some loss of revenue. You know, there's going to be a lot of people are not watching as much TV. We get that. But this notion that next year TV is just going to lose somehow $20 billion and that's all going to travel to online, you're effing crazy. Not going to happen. Television's going to be actually stronger. Way too much clutter on Twitter and Facebook. Advertisers are going to keep spending a lot of money on and the reason for that is this notion of banner blindness, that, you know, you could see your banner, you don't see the banners, you don't see the pre-rolls, whereas if you put a freaking Coca-Cola cup on the American Idol table, people talk about that. Even if it's cynical, it's part of the discussion. It's there. A media planner could say, look, same thing with print. Print took a long time. In 2000, when I was at Ask Men, we always waited for print to die. And, you know, it's still around. Mind you, it took 10, 15, 20 years. The idea was a media planner could open up and say, listen, I placed my, you know, ad for Coach or, you know, Samsonite in this freaking magazine. It's there. Don't fire me. It's the same thing with TV. You could see the ads, whereas online, it's a sea of clutter and crap, and we keep thinking television's going to die.
Which is funny about the online space, and I just want to add this, is people buy real estate online, and then they argue over the value or like how many clicks or how many impressions it got, but you actually know where with TV, although you can say, well, I saw a physical ad appear, but like, you actually don't know how many people got up from their couch and went and got a snack during the commercial break.
Yeah, I'm going to touch on that in upcoming ones. So.
All right, so cord cutting is real. What do you mean?
Okay, so yes, there is a number of people, especially men in that, let's say, 13 to 24 demographic that are either not subscribing to cable or cutting their cable. But guess what? A lot of those guys then a few months later are like, you know what? I don't really get much news. I don't get as much sports. I miss HBO. I miss ESPN, I miss whatever, 17 other things, so I'm gonna go back to TV, or I'll still watch TV in one form or another. So yes, the trends are showing that there's a percentage growth of cord cutters or people that don't subscribe to cable, but again, it's such a fringe movement. It's almost like saying, I won't say anything crazy. It's happening, but it's not gonna kill television. It's still a very small phenomenon.
You know when the cable company will actually get me back? When I could just watch their stuff online, plain and simple.
Well, this is why, just a little tangent, you are seeing a dichotomy between the traditional media companies, like let's say the Foxes and the Disneys, who really want to, they're for the status quo because they're making all this money from, cable fees, carriage fees, and all that. And then you are seeing the sort of blurriness around the access guys, Verizon, Comcast, and Comcast, interestingly, is also a media company now through, NBC and all that. Verizon, AT&T, the access guys that want to be more flexible. They want to give more, freedom to choose and watch what you want. But my point is, cable and television are very strong. If you have money, you're going to get the attention of content owners, and the content owners are not going to just want to put everything online if they're making truckloads of money from cable. So this notion that cord cutting is here and it's going to decimate TV, give it 5 years, give it 7 years, but not right away.
Which brings us to your next anti-prediction, Apple TV or Google TV taking over.
All of these things, I think they're going to make a splash. They're not really going to make a big wave. I think over-the-top connected devices, same thing. In 5 years, it's going to be really big. It's the other flip side of cord cutting. I mean, listen, I risk electrocution every time I consider getting a set-top device and start plugging it away, and I'm an online video expert. So the average population likes having a stupid box and just turning on the TV, leaning back.
I think that'll be a generational thing because really, right now most consumers grew up with a television. It's hard for them to let that go. It's the kids growing up today who, are growing up with tablets and super wired to their mobile that might be the ones to give up, I think, conventional television. Another ambiguous one, where's the ROI?
We keep saying, you got to show more return on investment to marketers. You know what the irony is? Television is visible, but you can't track the ROI. So I think that it's very sexy to keep saying, oh my God, we're going to, I'm all for accountability and all that. Eric Schmidt says advertising is the last bastion of unaccountability in corporate America. Listen, guys, it's not next year all of a sudden that ROI is going to be so important. Advertisers just want to make sure that they didn't burn their money in the sense that they gave you a check and you ran the stupid banner below the fold, without telling them. They want to make sure that things are visible. It's more important than the ROI factor because at the end of the day, all advertising is negative ROI in the short term. Reality.
Fair enough. I actually agree. Advertising will be less robotic.
Yeah, I mean, this is the notion that, ad exchanges and ad networks are adding all this behavior targeting. And people say like, oh, next year you're going to start to go back to human beings making decisions. I would love for that to happen. I would love for there to be less, let's bundle audiences and pass it off as AAA, assets. That's not going to happen, and I'll tell you why. Unfortunately, it should happen. It won't happen because you are basically paying very young media planners less money and asking them to do so much more.
To make a lot of decisions.
To make a lot of decisions. So for them, if they can go on a dashboard and say, I'm going to check off these 7 audiences on these 8 sites, boom, I'm going to go now have a martini and,
Even at that, if one of the big agencies said, we want to offer advertisers better customer service or better ROI, and we're going to start getting real human beings to make these decisions, they would be competed completely out of the marketplace before they could bring over enough new business, because all it would take is their main competitor to keep being robotic, keep their costs low, and just cream them. All right, Publishers will get a clue.
So what the hell do I mean by this? I can't believe after the display ad networks destroyed and decimated the publisher's business by publishers giving them a backdoor access, they said never again. We're going to go and fight the display ad networks and we'll never let this happen in video. What did George Bush say? Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on me, whatever. Same thing happened. The publishers let the video ad networks in through the back door and they basically handed the market to ad exchanges and display ad networks and publishers. And I'm not saying we're any different or we're worse. I just think publishers are stupid for letting this happen again, and they have no one to blame but themselves.
Okay, number 9, tablets will blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, the idea that tablets are going to come and part the seas and money's going to flow for old media is crazy. I think Jan Wenner of Wenner Media, Rolling Stone publisher, is right that generally speaking, traditional media companies are going to overestimate the potential opportunity of tablets and they will keep underestimating the threat of the internet. And that's a combination for disaster. And they don't get it.
What baffles me is people don't realize that tablets are just like one other device. They're nothing special. Like, oh my God, we have home computers. That was a huge thing. Oh my God, we have laptops. But none of these actually, in fact, if any of these devices did anything, they eroded businesses that were already there. All right, hyper distribution will cure polio. I like this one.
Yeah, well, basically, we've had...
It's funny how you can, sorry, I just want to say, it's curious how you name polio because we beat that, but you never put down like AIDS or something.
No, I know. Well, because that's an ongoing struggle, right? So, that's the idea, that hyper distribution, we've had this love and hate relationship. When YouTube came along, the embedded video, the idea is, what's happened is basically publishers who produce content have lost that environment in which they could sell ads. So you give your video onto other sites, and I think that will continue to be a really big part, but therein lies the challenge of content. You have to let your content flow and go where the audiences are, but by doing so, you dilute your selling potential. And that means that, yes, hyperdistribution will be really, really key, but that means that it becomes even harder to generate revenue. So it's like a double-edged sword. It's not this silver bullet that will allow producers to make more money. It's actually going to make it tougher. But nobody comes out and says that. They go, oh, it creates wonderful opportunities. Yes, but it also comes with a lot of threats.
Okay, this one I'm interested to discuss. Number 11, the rise of branded content.
Yeah, every year we as producers, we produce largely infotainment, pure content. It's not like a sponsor is necessarily paying us, although eventually we will do that. And I think the bottom line is every year we expect branded content to take off, but those executions are really tough. So I think it will still see pre-rolls kick ass, and branded content will remain like a fringe thing.
It's so weird. We have such a different definition of branded content, you and I. You think strictly in terms of video, and
you think? Like an article, like...
I think everything like a sponsored survey on Facebook, like that kind of
Yeah, but these are online video anti-predictions.
Right.
All right, a couple more and we're done.
Consolidation.
Every year I traveled so much to New York, San Fran, and LA, and it was for business development, sales, corporate development, why lie? Everybody in the industry of online video is waiting for something to happen because investors have put in their money in 2003, 2004, 2005. For VCs, as much as they say we go long, they don't. After 7 years, they want their money out. And frankly, there's way too much money in the marketplace to justify the potential exits. There's not that much revenue yet. So every year, everybody's waiting for the shoe to fall and for there to be a lot of consolidation, roll-up, divestment, whatever. This year, you would think. I think this one actually might happen just because a lot of companies are running out of gas. But at the same time, why would it happen now? It hasn't happened in the past 3-4 years, so don't expect this to happen. We can find ourselves in 12 months saying, wow, there's all these companies that are sort of running on fumes. When is there going to be a big consolidation?
Okay.
Last one?
Last one, VCs are finally going to wake up and smell the Java.
Yeah, the notion that they like distribution, technology, video advertising, and all that makes sense. It's what they do. But I actually think that content has become like software, where it's like the marginal production and distribution costs are zero. So once you produce it, you can leverage things like YouTube to reduce your risk of distribution, marketing, and you can build a nice business around that. But again, I know for a fact that there's going to be a couple of VCs who are going to launch these content-oriented funds. But 2 does not really make a massive trend.
Right.
One of them is supposed to be up by 1/1/2012, by January 1st. We'll see if that's the case, if they announce it or not. So long story short, this is like the previous one, something that is long overdue for VCs to say, okay, distribution, you got to pick one company, you got to invest in 1,000 companies for one of them to be really successful. And if consider that VCs in the last decade have returned 1% on an annual basis for the amount of risk that they take, you would think hey, something is broken, let's start investing in content. But I've been saying that since 2006, and I've been wrong, and others have been too. So that's probably anti-prediction number 13.
And it's funny, I'm going to be really cynical about human beings in general here. Everyone is operating under the assumption that VCs have to actually bring back a return, something greater than, let's say, 1%. Really what it comes down to is VCs just have to keep their wine cellar stocked well. And
You said it, not me.
Okay.
No, but VCs do make money in sort of management, administration fees, and as much as they want the home run, the reality is, the funny thing about VCs, and I'm going to finish off on this, VCs remind me of, the analogy of you only have to outrun, let's say you're in a forest and there's a bear chasing you.
You only got to
outrun you. I got to outrun you because the
Not
bear
the bear.
will eat you, not the bear. And it's the same thing with VCs. VCs, when I talk to them, they're like, oh yeah, the VCs are crazy. They're stupid. They don't know what they're doing. There's too many VCs. And I almost want to go, there's a few that are rock stars, great, have the returns to prove it. But I'm like, well, what have you done in the last 10 years? You've basically raised all this money from pension funds and whatever. You haven't shown any return. You're sitting on the fund. So it's like you're cynical about your peers, but I'm cynical about you. Again, so that's been my anti-predictions. Hopefully I'm wrong and all these 13 become true, and that means like we're all awash in cash, but likely, where this is going. Not going to happen. Thank you for watching. See you next week, same time, same place. Nothing but good times.
2012.